Do you ever notice how certain days feel like you're moving through life with complete ease? Your thoughts are crystal clear, inspiration flows naturally, and everything seems to align perfectly. While other days feel like you're swimming upstream no matter how much effort you put into staying optimistic. What if I told you there's actual science behind this phenomenon, grounded in quantum mechanics and brain research, that could revolutionize how you understand and work with your personal energy? Your frequency isn't something that happens to you randomly, or that you can muscle your way into with positive thinking alone. It's actually a synchronized state, a scientifically observable characteristic of your electromagnetic field that shows up when your mental, emotional, and physical systems work in harmony. This harmony isn't something only enlightened teachers or meditation masters can access. You can tap into it right here, right now, once you understand how to recognize and develop it. The majority of people live their entire existence bouncing between automatic reactions and mental resistance. They begin each day already caught up in unfinished business from yesterday, cycling through identical thought patterns that create identical feelings, which then trigger identical chemical responses throughout their body. When we look at this through the lens of quantum science, this isn't just a mental habit. It's an energetic pattern that keeps repeating. Your individual energy signature is continuously broadcasting specific frequencies, similar to how a radio transmitter works. These frequencies are constantly interfacing with the greater quantum environment around you, shaping what catches your attention, how situations feel to you, and which possibilities actually manifest in your experience. Throughout this guide, you'll understand why protecting your frequency isn't about forcing fake happiness or pretending difficult emotions don't exist. Rather, it's about discovering how to create synchronization between your thoughts, feelings, and nervous system. Think of it like calibrating a precision instrument, so the signal you're transmitting stays clear, consistent, and strong. When this happens, the quantum field begins responding in ways that seem almost magical, because you've become someone who's no longer spreading their focus across contradictory desires and limiting beliefs. Right now, take a moment to tune into your current energetic state. There's no need to adjust anything. Simply observe what's present. How does your physical body feel in this moment? What mental chatter is running in the background of your consciousness? Do you sense any tightness in your chest area, or perhaps a feeling of spaciousness? This basic practice of witnessing without trying to fix anything immediately begins shifting your state. It breaks the unconscious loops that keep your frequency stuck in familiar but often restrictive patterns, opening space for something fresh to emerge. The birth of a clear signal that the quantum field can actually recognize and respond to. Here's something that might surprise you. Your high frequency doesn't disappear in one dramatic moment of crisis or setback. Rather, it gradually weakens through countless tiny decisions to react automatically instead of responding consciously, to contract instead of breathe deeply, to replay familiar stories instead of simply witnessing them. Once you grasp this concept, you start reclaiming your true power. Because if your frequency gets damaged through small moments of unconscious living, it can equally be restored through small moments of intentional awareness. Research in the field of neurocardiology reveals that your heart generates an electromagnetic field that's actually much stronger than what your brain produces. When you achieve emotional synchronization, when your heart's rhythmic patterns become smooth and coordinated with your breathing, you're literally transmitting a more organized, elevated frequency field throughout your entire body. This isn't just a beautiful metaphor. It's something scientists can actually measure and track. When you maintain this synchronized state, even for short periods, it transforms your body chemistry, regulates your nervous system, and changes how your brain interprets incoming information. Essentially, you begin experiencing reality through a completely different filter, one that's less reactive and more innovative. Why is this so important? Because the quantum field doesn't just respond to your mental affirmations. It responds to your complete energetic signature. You might be declaring prosperity with your conscious mind, but if your body is resonating with anxiety and limitation, the signal you're actually sending out lacks coherence. In quantum physics, when a signal lacks coherence, it creates chaotic, unpredictable results, usually the exact opposite of what you're hoping to attract. This explains why so many people feel drained after attempting to maintain artificial positivity. They're literally at war with themselves on an energetic level. What you're about to learn is how to resolve this internal conflict, not by suppressing authentic emotions or putting on a performance of happiness, but by recognizing that your true strength lies in consistently returning to alignment. This isn't about achieving some perfect state of Zen. It's about developing the ability to notice when you've drifted out of coherence and lovingly guide yourself back. Eventually, this becomes your natural way of being, a stable, elevated frequency that doesn't require perfect external conditions to maintain itself. If you've ever been curious about why some individuals naturally emanate peaceful confidence and seem to effortlessly draw opportunities into their lives, this is the secret. They've mastered the art of maintaining energetic coherence. They don't just think different thoughts, they literally feel and embody a different frequency. And since the quantum field is interactive, since your awareness, emotions, and intentions all play a role in what becomes reality, your personal frequency is the most powerful factor you can actually control. In the upcoming sections, we'll dive into how to condition your nervous system to naturally support higher frequencies, why one simple morning routine can determine the quality of your entire day, and how to identify the subtle signals that indicate you're entering a state of energetic alignment. Stay engaged with this material, because by the end of this experience, you'll possess not just intellectual knowledge, but an embodied understanding of what it truly means to become the conscious director of your own frequency. And that ability, far more than any technique or affirmation, is what enables you to design a life that reflects your highest potential. If you're still with me, it means part of you is beginning to understand that frequency goes far beyond just how you feel emotionally. It's actually the communication system your entire being uses to interface with the quantum field. This isn't mystical theory. This is measurable science. Let me share a fundamental truth that most people never discover. Everything in your experience exists as pure possibility until your focused attention causes it to take physical form. Quantum physics calls this the observer effect. Before you direct your consciousness toward a potential outcome, it exists only as unlimited potential. The process of observing, combined with the energetic quality of your emotional state, chooses one specific possibility and brings it into your lived reality. This goes way beyond the concept of positive thinking. This is consciousness directly interacting with the fundamental structure of reality itself. Consider this carefully. Your brain is constantly making predictions, filtering information, and constructing your perceptual experience. Modern neuroscience has proven that what you think of as reality is actually a controlled simulation, a mental model created by your nervous system using past experiences and future expectations. But here's the fascinating part. The data feeding into this system doesn't come solely from your thinking mind. It also originates from your heart rhythms, your breathing patterns, your physical posture, and the electromagnetic field that surrounds your entire body. This is exactly why trying to transform your thoughts without addressing how you actually feel in your body typically fails to create lasting change. Picture your frequency as a broadcasting station. Each thought you generate transmits a specific vibration. Each emotion layers additional information onto that vibration. And each action you take either strengthens or disrupts the coherence of what you're broadcasting. When all these elements work together in harmony, you establish a stable, resonant field. The quantum environment then reflects this coherence back to you by reorganizing possibilities in ways that feel wonderfully synchronistic. This is why you suddenly encounter exactly the right person, receive support from unexpected places, or feel motivated to take actions that you would have completely missed when operating from a lower state. But here's where most people unknowingly undermine themselves. They believe they need to force their way into a higher frequency by constantly repeating positive statements or desperately trying to avoid any challenging thoughts. What this actually does is create internal resistance, a disconnect between what the mind is saying and what the body is experiencing. You might be affirming, "I am prosperous and abundant," while your nervous system remains locked in survival mode and scarcity programming. From a quantum standpoint, this contradiction creates static in your signal, dispersing your focus and preventing the wave function from collapsing into your preferred outcome. If this is resonating with you so far, I'd love for you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps more people discover this life-changing information. The most effective way to understand this is through the principle of coherence. When scientists monitor the electromagnetic patterns of the heart, they discover that uplifting emotional states like gratitude, compassion, and inner peace create smooth, rhythmic wave patterns. These patterns indicate true coherence. Your heart and brain are communicating efficiently, and your autonomic nervous system is balanced. Conversely, states like frustration, worry, or anger generate chaotic, irregular waveforms, indicating incoherence. This incoherence doesn't just impact your internal experience, it actually interferes with the clarity of the energy you're projecting outward. Throughout this guide, you're going to master how to recognize these subtle energetic shifts. You'll begin to understand that maintaining a high frequency isn't about forcing yourself to feel wonderful constantly. It's about developing sensitivity to when you slip into incoherence and having gentle methods to realign yourself. Think of it like learning to tune a musical instrument. The first skill is recognizing when you're out of tune. Only then can you make the necessary adjustments. If you're wondering how to begin implementing this, here's a practical starting point. The next time you notice yourself tightening up, whether it's pressure from work, tension in a relationship, or a wave of self-doubt, stop what you're doing and direct your attention to your heart area. Deepen your breathing rhythm. Pay attention to the narrative your mind is creating. Ask yourself, is this the frequency I want to be transmitting into the field? This simple moment of conscious observation creates a decision point. Each time you choose coherence instead of automatic reaction, you strengthen your capacity to maintain a high frequency regardless of external circumstances. Let me be absolutely clear. This approach isn't about spiritual bypassing or pretending that challenges aren't real. High frequency isn't about denying what's actually happening. It's about maintaining connection to your core frequency of trust while fully engaging with life's inevitable complexities. It's understanding that while you can't always control external events, you always have the power to choose the energetic signal you broadcast in response. If this perspective feels different from what you've encountered before, if it resonates somewhere deeper than just your logical mind, I encourage you to continue with me because by the end of this journey, you'll have practical tools, not just for temporarily elevating your frequency, but for building a solid, energetic foundation that becomes your new normal. And if you're already sensing a subtle shift, a feeling that something within you is starting to remember, simply acknowledge that. This recognition is the first indication that your field is becoming more coherent. One of the most underestimated factors in maintaining a high frequency throughout your day is how you choose to start each morning. Those initial moments after awakening are when your brainwaves naturally transition from theta to beta states. During this shift, your subconscious mind remains highly programmable, and your body hasn't yet reactivated its default stress patterns. This transitional period represents your greatest opportunity to establish a coherent foundation for everything that follows. Most people immediately jump into reactive mode upon waking, grabbing their devices, scrolling through news feeds, or mentally rehearsing yesterday's unresolved issues. Without realizing it, they're programming their nervous system to re-enter the exact same limiting states that keep their frequency fragmented and scattered. However, when you deliberately choose to create intentional coherence before interacting with the external world, you're essentially tuning your biofield to broadcast a stable frequency. This isn't just a wellness ritual, it's a measurable transformation in the electromagnetic patterns emanating from your heart and brain. I want to share one core practice that you can implement starting tomorrow morning. It's straightforward, yet its effects build powerfully over time. This technique is called cardiac coherence breathing, a method that's been extensively researched by organizations like the HeartMath Institute. The concept is elegantly simple. When you slow your respiratory rate and concentrate your awareness on your heart center, you synchronize your autonomic nervous system. This synchronization forms the biological foundation of high-frequency states. Here's the step-by-step process. The instant you wake up, before reaching for your phone or leaving your bed, place one hand on your heart center. If it feels natural, gently close your eyes. Start by simply witnessing your breath without attempting to control it. Notice its natural flow as it enters and exits your body. Then, gradually slow your breathing into a smooth, rhythmic pattern. Try to breathe in for approximately 5 seconds, then breathe out for 5 seconds. As you continue, visualize that you're breathing directly through your heart space. Imagine each inhalation drawing in peaceful, clear energy, while each exhalation releases any stress or mental noise. After establishing this breathing rhythm, consciously invite a nourishing emotion into your awareness. You might focus on appreciation for someone special in your life. Recall a moment when you felt completely safe and loved, or simply feel grateful for the gift of being alive right now. Allow this positive feeling to expand throughout your chest area. As you maintain this practice for 3 to 5 minutes, your heart rhythms naturally begin synchronizing with your breath. This establishes what researchers call cardiac coherence, a measurable harmonic pattern that stabilizes your entire system. Your brain waves shift into more organized frequencies. Your hormonal balance improves, and your electromagnetic field becomes more coherent. Practically speaking, you're creating an internal environment where elevated emotions like mental clarity, inner strength, and natural ease become much more accessible throughout your day. Understanding why this works from a quantum perspective is crucial. Your coherent heart field doesn't stop at the boundaries of your physical body. Scientific studies show it actually radiates outward for several feet, interacting with the energy fields of other people and environments around you. This explains why, when you walk into a space while in a calm, aligned state, you often notice others responding to you differently, even though they can't consciously explain why. It's not personal magnetism in the traditional sense, it's energetic coherence. This morning practice also dramatically affects how you interpret challenges throughout your day. When you begin from a place of cardiac coherence, you're much less likely to get triggered into automatic survival responses. Rather than reacting with irritation or fear when difficulties arise, you're more capable of observing situations with neutrality and responding with creativity. From a quantum perspective, this is how you maintain signal clarity, ensuring that you continue attracting outcomes that match your higher intentions. It's important to understand that the goal of this exercise isn't to manufacture positive emotions artificially. Instead, you're creating the physiological conditions where elevated emotional states can emerge naturally. You're not forcing feelings. You're cultivating the internal environment for coherence, which then becomes the foundation for sustained high frequency. If you're curious about how quickly you'll notice results, the research is quite encouraging. Studies indicate that even 3 minutes of cardiac coherence breathing can positively shift your biochemistry for several hours. The more consistently you practice, the more your nervous system learns to automatically return to this baseline, even during stressful situations. This is why I recommend treating this not as a one-time experiment, but as a daily ritual, a way of declaring to both your body and the quantum field, I am prioritizing coherence above all else. Over time, you'll observe that situations that previously pulled you into reactivity begin losing their emotional charge. You'll feel more grounded, mentally clearer, and more connected to what truly matters. In our next section, we're going to explore how to maintain this frequency as you navigate the unavoidable challenges of daily life. Because starting your morning in an elevated state is one thing, staying aligned when life becomes chaotic is something entirely different. But you'll discover that with some simple adjustments, your coherence can become the most reliable element in any situation you encounter. The quantum field is constantly listening, and the signal you choose to broadcast today is actively shaping the possibilities that will become tomorrow's experiences. Beginning your morning in a high-frequency state is powerful, but as the day progresses, most people watch their coherence gradually diminish. Text messages demand attention. Unexpected problems emerge. Other people's energy starts affecting your own. Without a clear strategy for navigating these inevitable shifts, you'll unconsciously slip back into the same reactive patterns you've been practicing for years. This is why learning to protect your frequency throughout the day isn't about avoiding all stress. It's about developing the skill of quickly returning to alignment, regardless of what's happening around you. You might be amazed to learn that some of the most significant changes to your energetic field don't result from major life decisions, but from how you handle small transitional moments throughout your day. Neuroscience refers to these as micro-transitions. These are the subtle shifts in your physiology, breathing patterns, and mental focus that happen as you move from one situation to another. The secret is training yourself to recognize when you've lost coherence and having simple tools readily available to restore it. Picture this scenario. You're focused on an important project when you suddenly receive harsh feedback that catches you completely off guard. In that instant, your heart rhythm becomes erratic. Your breathing becomes shallow, and your thoughts immediately jump to defense or justification. From a quantum perspective, this is precisely when your signal becomes distorted, when the field receives a chaotic broadcast of fear, anger, and resistance. This isn't something you can simply override through willpower. However, you can interrupt the pattern through conscious awareness. One of the most effective techniques is what I call the instant recalibration. It requires no privacy, special equipment, or anyone else's cooperation. Here's how it works. The moment you notice yourself contracting or becoming reactive, pause your current activity. Relax your shoulders. Feel your body being fully supported by whatever you're sitting or standing on. Take one slow, deliberate breath, making your exhale noticeably longer than your inhale. Then shift your attention back to your heart area and briefly reconnect with the feeling you cultivated during your morning practice, whether that was gratitude, peace, or openness. This simple action accomplishes something remarkable. It stops the cascade of stress hormones and helps restore the smooth, coherent heart rhythm that signals safety to your entire nervous system. You're not trying to force positive emotions. You're simply stepping out of the reactive cycle long enough to remember who you are when you're not operating from survival mode. When practiced regularly, these instant recalibrations build a new baseline, training your nervous system to return to coherence more quickly and with less effort. There's another crucial aspect of protecting your frequency: how you manage your attention throughout the day. Most people allow their focus to be constantly hijacked. Phone notifications, random conversations, mental replays of past events. Every time you lose intentional focus, you're leaking precious energy. This explains why even on days when nothing particularly stressful happens, you can still feel completely drained by evening. You've fragmented your field by scattering your awareness in too many directions. To counteract this energy drain, I strongly recommend practicing what I call focused presence. When you're working, give yourself completely to that work. When you're eating, be fully present with your food. When you're in conversation with someone, offer them your undivided attention. This discipline of concentrated focus not only preserves your energy, but actually trains your brain to maintain the steady patterns associated with coherence. From a quantum standpoint, it strengthens the clarity of your signal and makes it much easier to attract experiences that match your chosen frequency. You might also find it valuable to create small anchoring rituals throughout your day, specific moments that remind you to return to alignment. For instance, every time you wash your hands, you could take one mindful breath and silently remind yourself, I am conscious energy. Each time you walk through a doorway, you might pause briefly and feel appreciation for the opportunity to choose your frequency once again. These micro-rituals might seem insignificant, but over time, they literally rewire your automatic responses and make coherence your default setting. One particularly powerful anchoring technique involves using what I call frequency checkpoints throughout your day. These are predetermined moments where you intentionally pause to assess and adjust your energetic state. You might set gentle reminders on your phone, not for productivity tasks, but for consciousness maintenance. When the reminder appears, take 30 seconds to scan your body, notice your breathing, and ask yourself, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? This simple check-in often reveals that you've unconsciously slipped into stress patterns without even realizing it. The beauty of frequency checkpoints is that they interrupt what neuroscientists call the default mode network, the brain's tendency to run on autopilot when not actively engaged in focused tasks. This autopilot mode often defaults to worry, planning, or replaying past events, all of which scatter your energetic field. By deliberately interrupting this pattern several times throughout your day, you train your nervous system to naturally maintain higher levels of awareness and coherence. Another crucial aspect of maintaining your frequency involves understanding the concept of energetic momentum. Just as physical objects in motion tend to stay in motion, your energetic state tends to perpetuate itself throughout the day. This is why starting your morning in coherence is so powerful. It creates positive momentum that carries forward. However, this principle works in both directions. If you begin your day in reactivity or stress, that negative momentum will tend to compound unless you consciously interrupt it. This is where the practice of energetic pattern interruption becomes essential. When you notice yourself caught in a downward spiral of thoughts or emotions, you can use specific techniques to break the momentum and redirect it upward. One effective method is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, but adapted for frequency work. Notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can physically feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. As you move through this sequence, consciously breathe into your heart center with each observation. This technique rapidly brings you back into present moment awareness while simultaneously engaging your heart coherence. The relationship between your frequency and your physical environment is another factor most people completely overlook. Your energetic state doesn't exist in isolation. It's constantly interacting with the spaces you occupy. Cluttered, chaotic environments tend to promote scattered mental states, while clean, organized spaces naturally support coherence. This isn't just psychological, it's energetic. The physical arrangement of objects, the cleanliness of surfaces, and even the colors in your environment all emit their own subtle frequencies that either support or interfere with your personal field. You can enhance your frequency work by consciously creating what I call coherence zones in your living and working spaces. These are areas specifically designed to support elevated states. This might involve placing plants in your workspace, as living systems naturally emit coherent electromagnetic fields. It could mean using specific colors that research has shown to promote calm and focus, like soft blues or earth tones. Even something as simple as ensuring adequate natural light can significantly impact your ability to maintain high-frequency states throughout the day. The role of nutrition in frequency maintenance is another often overlooked factor. Your body is essentially a complex electromagnetic system, and what you put into it directly affects the clarity and stability of your energetic field. Highly processed foods, excessive caffeine, and artificial additives create what could be described as energetic static in your system. Fresh, whole foods, particularly those grown in mineral-rich soil, tend to support coherent energy patterns. Hydration plays an equally important role. Water is an excellent conductor of electromagnetic energy, and your body is approximately 60% water. When you're properly hydrated with clean, high-quality water, your body's electrical systems function more efficiently, making it easier to maintain coherent states. Many people notice that their ability to hold elevated frequencies improves dramatically when they increase their water intake and improve the quality of their hydration. The timing of your meals also affects your frequency throughout the day. Eating large, heavy meals requires significant energy for digestion, temporarily reducing the energy available for maintaining elevated states. This is why many spiritual traditions emphasize lighter eating during periods of intensive practice. You don't need to make dramatic changes, but being mindful of how different foods affect your energy levels can significantly support your frequency work. Sleep quality represents another fundamental pillar of frequency maintenance that deserves special attention. During sleep, your nervous system processes the day's experiences and resets for optimal functioning. Poor sleep quality creates what amounts to energetic debt, making it much more difficult to maintain coherent states the following day. Creating optimal sleep conditions, including a cool, dark environment and consistent sleep schedules, directly supports your ability to hold higher frequencies. The electromagnetic environment of your bedroom is particularly important. Electronic devices emit electromagnetic fields that can interfere with your body's natural rhythms and energy patterns. Many people notice improvements in both sleep quality and next-day coherence when they create device-free sleeping environments, or at least ensure that electronic devices are placed several feet away from their bed. Remember, you don't need to maintain perfect inner peace from morning until night. You simply need to notice when you've drifted away from alignment and consciously choose to return. This is the fundamental difference between people who maintain elevated frequencies and those who feel constantly overwhelmed by circumstances. The first group doesn't avoid challenges. They develop the capacity to recalibrate repeatedly throughout each day. Now, before we explore the next part of this journey together, I want to invite you to engage with this material on a deeper level. Take a moment to solidify the intention you've been developing by writing in the comments, "I am conscious energy." This isn't just words on a screen. It's a declaration to your own energetic field that you're choosing to become an intentional creator of your reality. When you write those words, really feel them in your body. Let this be a small but powerful act of coherence, something that the quantum field will recognize and reflect back to you in unexpected ways. Stay present with me, because in our next section, we're going to explore how to shield your energy from external influences, how to create an energetic boundary around yourself that not only maintains your frequency, but actually amplifies it, regardless of what environment you find yourself in. By now, you're starting to see that high frequency isn't something you achieve once and then maintain effortlessly. It's an active, ongoing practice. But there's one more critical layer we need to address if you truly want to sustain this elevated state throughout your entire day. Energetic protection. Not protection in the sense of defending yourself against some external threat, but protection as the conscious creation of a stable, coherent field around you that naturally filters out anything that doesn't resonate with your chosen state. From a quantum perspective, this isn't wishful thinking. It's scientifically measurable. Every living system generates an electromagnetic field, and your heart produces the strongest one in your entire body. This field extends well beyond your physical boundaries and constantly interacts with the larger energetic environment surrounding you. When your heart field achieves coherence, meaning your emotions, breathing, and nervous system are working in harmony, it creates what could be described as an energetic boundary. Other people sense it, situations respond to it, and without needing to defend yourself out of fear, you naturally deflect whatever doesn't match your frequency. So how do you consciously create this energetic protection? One of the most powerful methods combines visualization with embodied awareness. I want you to practice this with me right now as you listen. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Bring your attention back to your heart center. Breathe slowly and evenly, just as we've practiced before. Now, with each inhale, imagine drawing radiant golden light into your heart space. Picture this as warm, luminous energy that nourishes and strengthens your entire being. With each exhale, feel this light expanding outward, creating a brilliant field around your whole body. Visualize this golden energy as a living boundary, not a rigid wall, but an intelligent, dynamic field that welcomes in whatever supports your highest good and gently deflects whatever doesn't serve you. As you maintain this visualization, pay attention to any physical sensations that emerge. You might notice warmth spreading through your chest area, or a gentle tingling in your hands and arms. These aren't just imagination. Your body is actually responding because your nervous system and biofield are incredibly sensitive to your focused intention. From a quantum standpoint, what you consistently focus on with emotional engagement begins influencing probability waves into physical form. Your coherent protective field becomes a genuine force, affecting not only how you feel internally, but how external reality responds to you. This practice creates far more than just a feeling of safety. It fundamentally changes how you interact with the world around you. You'll discover that stressful situations seem to have less impact on your inner state. The emotional chaos of others becomes easier to observe without automatically absorbing. You become, in a very real sense, a stabilizing presence in whatever environment you enter. Scientific research supports this in remarkable ways. Studies measuring heart rate variability and electromagnetic field coherence demonstrate that people in heart-centered states actually influence others around them, even from a distance. Your coherent field functions like a tuning fork, encouraging other people's systems to harmonize with yours. This explains why the most centered individuals in any group often set the emotional tone without speaking a single word. And here's the most important insight. This protection doesn't come from trying to block out or resist the world around you. It emerges from cultivating such a clear, steady internal signal that anything incoherent simply passes by you without creating disturbance. You're not bracing yourself against life. You're radiating in a way that makes discordant frequencies irrelevant to your state of being. I encourage you to bring this golden field visualization into moments of transition throughout your day, before entering meetings, when walking into crowded spaces, or even during your commute. It only takes a breath or two to reconnect with that protective radiance. The cumulative effect is truly transformative. Over time, you'll notice that things which once drained your energy now pass by without creating any impact. Situations that previously triggered reactive responses now encounter your steadiness instead. What's particularly fascinating is how this energetic protection actually works in reverse as well. Not only does it shield you from lower frequencies, but it also amplifies and attracts higher frequencies. When you maintain this coherent field consistently, you begin noticing that positive opportunities, supportive people, and beneficial circumstances seem to appear more frequently in your life. This isn't coincidence. It's the quantum field responding to the clarity and consistency of the signal you're broadcasting. You can enhance this protective effect by combining it with specific intentions. As you visualize your golden field, you might silently affirm, "I am surrounded by supportive energy," or "Only what serves my highest good can affect me." These statements, when combined with the visualization and felt sense of protection, create what quantum physicists call a coherent observer effect, actually influencing which possibilities collapse into your experienced reality. Another powerful enhancement is to extend this protective field to include spaces you frequently occupy. When you arrive at your workplace, for example, you can visualize your golden field expanding to fill your entire office or workspace. When you return home, see this protective energy enveloping your living space. Over time, these environments begin holding a higher frequency even when you're not physically present, creating sanctuaries of coherence in your daily life. In our final section, we'll integrate everything you've learned into one comprehensive practice designed to anchor your high frequency as a lived, embodied reality. You'll also receive an invitation to join a community of like-minded individuals who are committed to maintaining elevated frequencies together. Let's complete this journey. Your coherence isn't just a personal gift. It's a contribution to the collective field we all share. Now that you've learned how to elevate and protect your frequency, the most crucial step is weaving everything together into one integrated, embodied practice. something you can return to whenever you feel yourself slipping into reactivity or doubt. Because maintaining a high frequency isn't something you accomplish once and then forget about. It's something you cultivate continuously, moment by moment, breath by breath. To help you embody this understanding completely, I want to guide you through a comprehensive integration exercise. If possible, find a comfortable position where you won't be interrupted for the next several minutes. If you're listening while engaged in other activities, that's perfectly fine. Just allow your attention to rest gently on these words and notice whatever arises naturally. Close your eyes or simply relax your gaze. Place one hand on your heart center, establishing connection with your core. Take a slow, deep inhale through your nose, allowing your belly to expand fully. Exhale softly through your mouth, releasing any tension from your shoulders, jaw, or anywhere else in your body. Continue this smooth, rhythmic breathing as you allow your awareness to settle completely into your physical being. Now begin visualizing the radiant golden field we created together earlier. See it as a shimmering, luminous energy completely surrounding you. With each inhale, imagine this field growing brighter and more coherent. With each exhale, feel it solidifying into a protective, living presence that accompanies you wherever you go. As you maintain this image, silently repeat these phrases to yourself. I am the conscious observer. I am the coherent field. I am the chosen frequency. Feel the truth of these words, not as intellectual concepts, but as a reality vibrating through every cell of your body. You are not separate from the quantum field of infinite possibility. You are a unique expression of it, a conscious being actively shaping potential into form. The frequency you choose in this very moment isn't just an internal experience. It's a signal that directly influences what unfolds in your reality. Remain here for several more breaths, feeling the stability and strength of your own energy. Notice whatever sensations arise, perhaps a sense of deep calm, gentle warmth, or quiet expansion. There's no correct or incorrect way to experience this. The simple act of conscious observation is completely sufficient. When you feel ready, slowly open your eyes. Pay attention to how your awareness feels now. Maybe slightly clearer, softer, or more grounded than before. This is coherence. This is high frequency made real in your body. This is the ongoing invitation I want to leave with you. Continue returning to this practice regularly. Not because you need to be perfect or maintain some artificial state of constant bliss, but because the more consistently you choose alignment over automatic reaction, the more natural this elevated frequency becomes. Eventually, you'll discover that you don't have to work to stay elevated. It simply becomes who you are. Before we complete this journey together, I want you to know that you're part of a growing movement. There's an expanding community of people dedicated to exploring where science meets consciousness. People who are ready to live as active co-creators with the quantum field, rather than passive recipients of whatever happens to them. If you felt something shift within you during this experience, a sense of remembering, deep resonance, or even just genuine curiosity, I'd love to invite you to become part of this space. Subscribing to this channel isn't just about accessing more educational content. It's about joining a field of collective intention and shared exploration, a place where you can deepen your practice, ask questions, and connect with others who are also choosing coherence over chaos. If this feels aligned with your path, you can subscribe now, knowing that every time you engage with this material, whether it's through new videos or revisiting practices like this one, you are strengthening the frequency you wish to embody and contribute to the world. What's particularly exciting is that maintaining your frequency isn't just beneficial for you personally. When you consistently hold a coherent state, you're actually contributing to what researchers call morphic resonance, making it easier for others to access similar states. Your individual coherence literally supports collective awakening. This means that every moment you choose alignment, every time you return to your center during challenging situations, you're not just transforming your own life. You're helping to elevate the frequency of human consciousness itself. I also want to share one final insight about the compound effect of this work. Each time you practice these techniques, you're not just creating temporary states of coherence. You're actually rewiring your nervous system, establishing new neural pathways that make elevated frequencies more accessible over time. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to reorganize itself based on repeated experiences. This means that consistency, even more than intensity, is what creates lasting transformation. Think of your daily practice like making deposits in an energetic bank account. Each morning routine, each micro reset during challenging moments, each time you consciously protect your field, you're building what becomes an unshakable foundation of inner stability. Eventually, this foundation becomes so solid that external circumstances lose their power to derail your frequency for extended periods. Thank you for being here, for your presence, and for the courage it takes to step into a completely new relationship with your own energy. The quantum field is always listening, always responding, and every single time you choose alignment over reactivity, you are broadcasting a signal that has the power to transform not only your personal reality, but the collective field we all share. Stay committed to coherence. Remain curious about what's possible. And always remember, you are conscious energy in motion. As you move forward from this experience, carry with you the understanding that you now possess practical tools for maintaining high-frequency states regardless of external circumstances. You've learned how to start each day from a place of coherence, how to quickly recalibrate when challenges arise, and how to create an energetic boundary that naturally filters your experiences. Most importantly, you've discovered that you are not a victim of your frequency. You are its conscious director. The journey of mastering your frequency is ongoing, and every day presents new opportunities to strengthen this skill. Trust in your ability to recognize when you're out of alignment and have confidence in your capacity to return to coherence. Remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about conscious participation in the creation of your reality. Understanding how the observer effect fundamentally changes everything about your reality takes this work even deeper. The moment you truly grasp that your consciousness is actively collapsing possibilities into form, your entire approach to manifestation transforms completely.